and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, welcome. This is My Perspective, and it's Tuesday. And you know, when it's Tuesday, we roll it. We talk about everything and anything, especially relationships when it comes to men and women and how men and women interact. This man has been away for such a long time, and I want to take this opportunity to bring him in as the first person on set to actually say hi to us, atuambia alikuwa wapi, and what he will be discussing tonight. So guys, welcome Coach Collins Bolo. Good evening, Coach. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you, Lukiani. I'm happy and excited to be back for our program this night.
I'm exactly excited as you are because hey, ni kitambo.
Nikitambo, but it's good. I've been preparing myself for these events and these meetings. I'm quite sure that it's going to be very exciting, very impactful, and also with good directives in one way or the other. So no regrets. I'm back.
Karibu sana. And you guys, you will pardon Coach Collins kwa sababu ameamua kukaa na wale watu wanafanya iftara. So to our Muslim brothers and sisters, tunaita aje ile kitu mnaambia inaitwa nini Mubarak? That thing, you know what I'm talking about. So we will be popping in and out with Coach Collins. But meanwhile, let me throw him backstage for now as I welcome one more man, the most controversial, he will say, and the man that speaks his mind as he speaks it. African man, good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Eddie. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm happy to be here. So, quite an interesting topic. We are ready for it.
You know, last week there's somebody alikuroga, lakini akaniambia amekuja kukuroga sana na story. Muhonja African. And Mr. James, good evening. I wanna smile in a slow motion.
Back. I'm back to fight with Africa.
You're here to fight her, him or her?
Him.
Okay, na wewe tafadhali hebu angalia network yako kabla tuamue we delete you from this show. Let's have one and only Mr. Lawyer himself, Godwin Segero. Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Hautanifanyisha kazi kama ya nini wewe. Hebu unmute microphone ama tukutupe nje. Today atubembelezi mtu.
Amwezi nitupa nje bwana. Mimi ndio serikali.
Wewe ndio serikali.
Good evening, Matas and Eli. How are you doing?
We're great. So, and to our audience, we are very excited to have this conversation because tonight we are discussing boundaries and romance at work. What a way to start your Tuesday. So keep your comments coming in the comment section because we'll be sampling most of them tonight. We want to engage you. So make sure you send in and tell us where you're watching us from. Now tuambie jina lako pia, okay? You say your name and where you're watching us from. Romance at work. Muhonja. Wewe unahonja watu kazini ama kazini ni kazi peke yake?
Naonja mbaya sana. Kwa sababu sioni ubaya by the way. Hii life eli ni fupi. Utanyimana hii kitu, nyimani alafu mwisho ukufe na ni mcho itakula. So if kwa kazini mwenye unaona kuna potential and there's something you're getting in return, yati ni bure. At the end of the day, all these things, romance, sex, is always transaction. There's something you're getting at the end of it all. So if there's something good for me in that case, why not? I don't have a problem with that.
So at work, you will romance. You will date your colleague, if there's a colleague. Okay, that's Muonja's opinion. How about you, Godwin?
Nimekataa. Because one thing, when you accept to cross that line, there are many things you are putting on the line. Your career, your happiness, because not unless you can prove or it can prove the test of time, that's a no-go zone.
Okay, eloquent enough. African man, before I jump back to James.
Yeah.
Your opening remarks.
My opening remarks is all facts as remaining constant, the statement as it is. I already see that then you are dealing with a situation where your work area is toxic. So you're talking about toxic work environment. If somebody cannot keep you at peace, if somebody can do all that, so I think, but the others still don't accept it, say no, even if it's to lose your job, take another one. If matters remain constant, but if other things are there, I don't know. But that's the way it is, plain clean in this situation. Unwanted passes at work, it's very toxic.
For you, it's a toxic environment, no goes on. James, do you take the same side with Muhonja, or you feel you will not date your colleague if that was the environment you are in?
To me, it's a no go zone. Yeah, because I feel like the way I'm wired, I can never multitask, romance and work. So by the end of the day, kuna moja itafail. So it's for me to decide. So if it's let me do work first.
So, but you can do work and then do the colleague later on as extra hours.
Overtime.
I can't do that because but
You
not
can't
the
do
day
that.
because we're working the same office. So
You're working in
anytime
the same office.
I feel when it comes to a matter of relationship, I know when I feel I see you. So when we're in the same environment, kutakuwa na so much that atmosphere ya love. So by the end of the day, I'll find myself not working. Focus on you because umepita hapo na chai nimekuwa na vile nimekuona Godwin amekusimamisha hapo na feel what are these people talking about,
Okay, fine. African man says, and thank you so much, James. African man says for him it's about the toxic environment. Godwin, it's about the lines you are crossing. James, on the other hand, it's how he's wired. He can't multitask. But Mwonja says life is for the living. Let's get this show started.
Welcome to Elimishwe kwa maswala ya jamii. Tuchunguze sana mbalimbali, tujuze juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, wawapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
Meli yetu imeng'oa nanga, sasa kanuke kaende. Mwonja, now make your point. We are listening as the men in this den.
I'm very happy to be on one side without any of these people here, and I'm going to fight till then. I had planned myself to fight with Godi alone and African man, but now this one has joined the wagon, and now it's just me and me, and I love it that way. I think if you ask me, relationships at work are very good because one, you guys understand the pressure that comes with work. For instance, you have a very toxic, for lack of a better word, toxic boss who is always harassing you people, always shouting, always doing everything, and you guys are feeling the pressure. I need someone that can understand that pressure. If we work at different places and I come tell you, hey, today the manager was harassing me, you'll be like, Olebas. But if you are there and you saw exactly what happened, this particular person will go like, he'll comfort me. Yes, you'll tell me, hey, the boss is always like that, and I love the way you just kept quiet. Next time, do this. Also, I can give him my assignments if we are now in this case you're not supporting me, but supposing you are supporting me, yes, and then I am there in that particular. I can hand over my assignments to you, and you do them because I am baby girl and I'm supposed to be pampered and treated nicely. I'm not supposed to be loaded with assignments. So my work boyfriend and office boyfriend will help me do that. Apart from that, my work boyfriend will never tell me stories of we have not been paid because I know exactly when we are payday. So if it is payday, my work boyfriend has money. Mimi, sina pesa, sinanga pesa. Hata kama we have been paid on the same day. You just know I don't have money. So, and I know the day that you've been paid. If I have to confirm with the HR, I can do that so that you treat me and feel the pain that God promised all of the men in this world. It's none of our business how you are going to do that, but please, you have to take care of us. So my office boyfriend, in this case, will do me a lot of good, and I'm shamelessly and boldly confirming and telling people they should date people at work.
James, it's your time to speak. I will not be asking you to speak, so you better speak if you have to speak, or forever hold your peace.
I'm just looking at this perspective whereby we are working together in one office, and there are times there whereby there are issues. To I think okay, and I've seen this scenario happening even with the bosses. Unapata the boss is now the husband and the wife wako pamoja and they are coming for a meeting, and in the middle of that meeting wao wanameleta hiyo meeting, but unapata the discussions zinaendelea hapo, wenyewe wanaanza kupozeana hao kwa hao, mpaka una feel like this thing is not working. So I'm just looking at this aspect because when things are okay, tunaweza chapa tu jambo poa, but when things are not okay, especially with now for people who are in a relationship, sometimes they forget themselves. Pako unapata kwa meeting wenyewe wameanza kushana maneno like who wako this side, mwingine wako this side, pako unashanga like this are mabosi wetu. So for me I feel like it can really affect our work environment. And the other thing here is that like me being a boss and I'm dating a secretary, in terms of delivering the work, because anajua there's those favors. Akikuja job kuchelewa, nothing I will do. He's my, you know, my boyfriend is the boss there, you know. Imepungua, maybe atataka kupunguziwa because we are going through a certain season whereby she need to understand, but for her she want to get favor. Sometimes hata hafanyi kazi pia, because you know when you're working in a company, by the end of the day, like 3 months kuna hiyo evaluation. So what have you been adding up to this company? Na nikiona chini nikiangalia kwa ground kweli, you have not been active, you have not been delivering your work the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to fire you, but in the name of that you're my girlfriend, siwezi kufire. So napata now by the end of the day company inaanguka. So for me naangalia tu, yeah.
Okay, James, that's quite a point, and I hope Coach Collins is actually taking notes, because he will be coming to give us his evaluation on the same later on as the question stays. So don't mind him if he's listening there pensively. It's because he's taking notes to come and give us his perspective later on during the show. Throw you back to African man. Toxic, not toxic, and why?
If it's, yeah, I mean, the way the statement takes, it tells you are not having a peace of mind at work. And if you're not having a peace of mind at work from a colleague, it's already toxic as it is. And if it is actually bosses, as we call them at work, that are not wanted. So that's a very awkward situation in the first place. That's the first thing. So in as much as we say you are not at peace at work, you cannot be at peace at work maybe just because the work is heavy. That's no problem. But if you're not at peace at work because of such a toxic situation, it's already starting on a negative point. Just for me, I stand that point. I want to be open that I am not against work relationships. That's the first thing. You understand? Actually, colleague marriages have been some of the best. From my colleagues, friends, I know everything. Marriages for people who meet at work has been something, most of them have been very good and successful. So I'm not opposing that. But we are talking about when it is a bother to you at work, then you're already going to have problems because it's something you don't like. You're not at peace, it's something you don't like. So I don't see a point of thinking mindset that you can also give in to something that you don't like, or because it's the boss or not the boss. On the same note, I want to react to my sister there on a very advisory level. So imagine a situation, if I follow your story, you are at work with a toxic boss. You understand? Already from this toxic boss is creating a toxic work situation. Okay? That's what you are in. We are not even talked about your home already, yes. Now, what you go to do, you think that it is better to add somebody that understands you better, and you go pick someone else who is already in that toxic situation. Your fellow colleague who is already a victim of the toxicity from your boss. So, is that a way to really solve any toxic problem? No. You're yearning for it, going more for it. I'll come to another thing where we say what we speak is what we manifest. Then we come from that level and start to invent words like work boyfriend. You understand? And for the men who accept to be work boyfriend, I ask you a question. What when you get a transfer? Because job is not permanent. So what happens when a transfer comes your way? Or you transfer or the man transfers. So whoever comes. So those are some of the things that we end up getting confused more and more. The morality of it all is work and romance is very complicated thing to mix unless you're really sure. So that is why when you don't feel nice about it, because it's as work, it's bothering you, it shows you cannot work and even be in a relationship at the same time at work. So for me, still a no-go zone, and my advice is let us not try to normalize abnormal things by trying to give them good names like work boyfriend. It is just extending another hand of prostitution as it is, in short.
I think I want to answer you on the same. And you are very busy advising me and saying that it is a no-go zone because of this and that. You're saying the environment is toxic. Do you know that we can heal each other if we work in that particular, there are a couple of scenarios in this case, and one is the one that you're pointing out, the toxic one. Why are you focusing on the negativity? Why can't you focus on a healthy?
Who
No,
mentioned it?
no.
You
Listen,
mentioned
why
boss.
can't you focus on the healthy side of working together? You mentioned that, and you said you've actually seen relationships between colleagues, and the relationships have worked so well. Yes. Why don't you choose to focus on that? Human beings are so much used to giving the bad examples all the time. Like, hey, there was one friend of mine who told me these TVs from that particular place do not work. Yet it is only maybe just one case. You forget that this is a whole brand, a whole label that has sat down with careful engineers and programmers to come up with it. And they are human. There has to be errors. Yes, errors have to be there. And I want you to look at it from this angle. Like, it is a relationship like any other. The only difference is you guys are working in the same environment. And it calls for a lot of maturity. It calls for a lot of communication. Like, hey, if I am working with James, I tell him, you know what? I hate you because you did this and I'm not happy with you. But when we go outside there, let's do away with whatever it is that we were fighting about. If this job entails us smiling and saying good morning to everyone, let's good morning to everyone till evening. After you are done, let's meet in the lift. And then we start our fight like a normal couple. Yes. And then we go back home and deal with that. And that's it.
Just a question of understanding. Just a moment.
Onja.
Just a moment, something that misunderstood. When you say work boyfriend, you mean it's the only boyfriend or there's another one? That's what I don't understand, because I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I mean, like, it is, if it's a relationship and it's work and you choose for that, it's okay. But if it's just, I don't understand this work boyfriend. It's only somebody who can have work, or
You and I are speaking the same language. Yeah. Because I also mentioned that there are a couple of scenarios within the same topic. And that was one that I chose and said, this is your only boyfriend that you're seeing, and it's official that you're seeing this person. There's scenario 2 where you are married, but you have a work boyfriend at at work, you know. That
That's
is
what
another
that's what I
different case.
disagree with.
But
That's what I
I
disagree.
support it. If my husband is stressing me
Yeah.
at home, I need relief. I
But
need to get healed. Hey, I need therapy.
Mwanja,
And if I can get therapy
Mwanja,
from someone I work with, then what's wrong with that, Godi? What's wrong with that?
let me disagree. Let me disagree with Mwanja. Okay. One thing, a workplace, it's something that comes with a lot of challenges. And you might find someone today, you think you're in a relationship, but you're just in a situationship, you know. And this comes in because let's say you're working, well, you've come at work. And the reason you're coming to work is to make ends meet. If you come there, you are single, and by chance you have a long-term relationship, well, but what implication does that come with? Because one thing, you've laid your relationship in the public. So let's assume you are in a same department. You know, it's going to affect the way you work, because you'll be monitoring every now and then who's talking to my boyfriend, who's talking to my girlfriend. You know, you're not concentrating on your work, concentrating on who's looking at your boyfriend or girlfriend, depending with the situation, you know. And then another thing, let's say it's a boss, maybe it's a boss and a junior colleague. Let's say the boss is a guy, and then the lady is just an employee. What happens? People tend not to associate with you because they feel whatever they say, you're going to report to the boss. You know, so you'll find you're working as a loner within a group of other colleagues, you know. So you cannot improve on your teamwork because people are afraid of talking to you. Again, your boss, what happens, you cannot deliver because you feel your boss is your boyfriend or your husband, so you can do whatever you want, you know. And this is if the boss is if your husband or the boyfriend is the boss, you're compromising the work because you'll not be delivering, but he can't say anything because, yeah, she's my girlfriend. And people will be noticing when this one does this, nothing happens. So the other colleagues will tend to follow suit, waiting to see the reaction from the boss, and the entire company collapses.
No, I think, Godi, I hear you. I feel you, my brother. But then now, how is it my problem that people are jealous of me being dated by the boss? How is it my problem? How?
No,
How?
it's not about
Maybe I can add
it's not
something,
about being jailed.
Godwin. Yeah, I think this is an
Let me just
issue of
If
value. This is an issue of value system because here you have been employed as a staff within this
there,
organization, or probably you are in your management position. Now, at this particular point, as you have been employed in this work environment, you are either the management or support staff. Now, so long as you have a clear mandate on your task, then it becomes extremely secure as far as your focus is concerned. However, life is built on relationship and people can relate at different levels. Where the catch is when this relationship starts turning to become romantic at this point. At which point can we justify that a relationship at workplace when it's romantic is justifiable, and at which point is it not justifiable? Now that's when we come with the issue of value system. I'm a married man. Is this young lady or someone's wife we are working together with? Probably where she's coming from or where I'm coming from, I feel I'm not getting enough attention, and now my gaps at home or someone else's gap at home becomes an excuse to look for someone within the work environment to fill it. But the reality is, when you talk about issues of love, it's more about relationship than just chemical reaction. So most of the time, when people start getting to deep relationship and romantic relationship within workplace, when we go therapeutical, there are a lot of gaps, which one is trying to substitute at work environment, probably because it's not getting attention from the wife or not getting attention from the husband. So every man has a responsibility to learn how to fix his own personal problem at home than taking advantage on another victim of emotional dilemmas at workplace in the name of we are relating. Well, that's where the catch is. What's your value system? What ethical issues are you holding on? Now, that's why we call it a dual relationship, whereby you are trying to mix your work relationship to a romantic environment. And it's funny, for us men, when it comes to romance, it's just more of a physical issue than emotional. In comparison to women, for a woman to become romantic to you, unless it's a commercial sex worker, it means the thought process already has started shifting, affecting the feelings at that particular point for it to become romantic. So there has to be a very clear mandate on your purpose and a great self-awareness to understand your personal gaps to the point whereby a place to develop an institution, you make it to become a platform of romance. That's key.
What happens also is you find when you're at workplace with the so-called boyfriend, assuming even you live together, you'll have your domestic issues and they translate at work, because when you're having a romantic relationship or you have that relationship at work, people will notice and they know how you behave when you're on good terms, and they can easily know when you have issues. So you can, maybe you're having a meeting and even you can't maybe introduce your colleague just because you had issues at home, and it affects the entire thing.
Well. I can tell Muhonja is receiving 10-0. Muhonja, do you still have
No,
do you still have something left in your arsenal? You want to
yes.
fight back? Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, Muhonja.
Number one,
They're telling us that.
Why are they thinking? Why is everyone here thinking about now if we fight, people will see? Why aren't you thinking about now if we are good, people will see? Why are you always negative? Why? Why, my people? Who hurt you? Who hurt you, my people? Who? And we have to understand that a relationship is a relationship.
You are not negative.
Whether you're the president, no. Wait.
Muhonja,
Whether
you're a
you're
human
the
being like me,
president,
and you know how
Godi, you're toxic. I'm talking and you're cutting me. You're toxic.
No, I have to tell you something. Muhonja, let me tell you, you know how we are wired. We never wait for good things. Those ones we see and we assume we've not seen, but we always wait when something bad happens. So we never wait at you see they are doing well. We are always waiting for that negative thing. So that's the time we strike.
But how is it my problem that you guys are wired that way? How is it my problem? Honestly. Healing and therapy. Go work on yourselves. There are so many things that can come out of that. Even the Bible says there is hope for a tree that has been cut, for it can sprout. The same way all of you here are just negative and saying, oh, it can work. And in fact, you're actually making me think about this. Should I date my colleague? And then I want to prove points to Godi, African man, and James here. Yes, because I want to show you that it can work. And if you see us fighting, listen. If you see us fighting, that is normal. That is absolutely normal. Like any other relationship. Even the president fights with his wife, but then they work together. He's the president, she's the first lady. They can't divorce at it because now people will know we are not okay. How is it my business what people think about me and what makes me happy? And I repeat, in case you have forgotten, the three of you, James, Godwin, and African man, I will shamelessly do it. Shamelessly in both instances.
Okay. May I react?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, after listening to Coach, I think we can identify two things and separate them. What we call office romance is something very different, where Coach has given us how we are two wired. That wiring is the same whether at office, at home, at work, whatever, with the exception of sex workers, as he explained. So now, also, I'm not trying to discriminate, but I'm like, okay, let us put that constant. Okay, now we're talking about also romance at work. We are not saying that you cannot do it. I said in the beginning, colleague marriages and stuff like that, or college and stuff, they end up being some of the best. So there is a lot of good, sweet things in that part. There is so many good, sweet things in that part. But for me, my only advice...
Focus on that.
We are focusing there, so you want to put the other toxicity away. So to put the other toxicity away, before you're gonna call everything toxic, I help you put the other toxicity away. And to do that, when he mentions about the value yourself, is your workplace is your priority. Job priority number one at workplace. You understand? So if you're gonna fight about who didn't do the dishes at home last night at your workplace in the canteen at lunchtime, that one, to be honest, you are not normal. Then we take the title of activism from a person like you if you do something like that. You understand? Because you're becoming chaotic and toxic to the whole company. So that's what I just want to focus on. You can do a lot of good romantic things, and I wish I can be your boss, but let's put the toxicity away. You understand? So that at least we can agree on some things. But this one, you're gonna scare. These men are not thinking; they're scared because the way unakuja mbio sana. This one, if I go for a job interview, I find you're the secretary there, I run away. I cannot take that job, to be honest.
James wanted to say something before I respond.
Okay.
I think history has proved that we have so many people who have family businesses and they have become extremely successful, whereby the husband, the wife, the children, even relatives are actually, they have the highest level of relationship, which is marital and family, and still they have made it very, very well. And once they get to the workplace, there's what we call a workplace balance, whereby there's a time whereby you talk as a boss, and maybe your husband or the wife is a part of the management, and you relate from that point, like the HR, the manager. And if people know how to distinguish how they relate and they bring those dynamics within their workplace, the conflict will not be there. So if the wife is the CEO and the husband is the manager, when the CEO talks to the manager at that particular point, even sometime with toughness, they understand we are relating as CEO manager, not husband wife at that particular point and time. Just like in our home, when you get to a home, if you are a policeman, when you get into your house, you're not a policeman to your wife and your children. You are a father and a husband.
Thank you.
And those dynamics of relationship, we can still have them at workplace. Now, where the difference comes in is, it is very much possible if someone has no good self-awareness, especially when it comes to issues of love feeling, and romance, for one to abuse within the work environment. Then one thinking, maybe, let me try to show them I'm the most romantic at this particular work. That's a sick person who needs therapy. Because at that particular point, the focus should be, how can we develop the mission and the goal of this institution towards becoming productive and generating resources at that particular point. That's not the time to generate emotions, romance, and sex at workplace. That's why it becomes abusive at that particular point. But does it mean when we work, we cannot be attracted one to the other? No, we can be attracted. And it's normal, there's no evil in it. A married man can be attracted to a married woman, a married man can be attracted to a young lady. But after the attraction takes place, what action do you take? This week on Tuesday, a young lady approached me and told me that I'm quitting immediately from my workplace because my boss is after me and my colleagues are after me. And I'm in a situation of mess. Now, she has a very great self-awareness. She has just understood this environment is toxic. I don't have time for my emotions to fight towards pleasing the boss and my colleagues at the expense of sex. And at least she's smart enough to understand that it is just a sexual appetite driving them. Nothing as far as career development is concerned. Now, men are born hunters, both married and single. So if it gets a naive young girl whose self-awareness is extremely low and it confuses love from love feeling, bang, every man in the office will have sex with her and she'll think she's the hottest. But as far as men are concerned, she's the most loose girl in the place. And men will think if men around can agree.
Did you get that?
Muhonja, you told us,
Muhonja,
I think,
did you
before wait, wachana na Muhonja. James.
No.
James, please. Muhonja might disagree with you. Godwin tends to agree with what you've said. And so is Coach Collins and, of course, African Man. What more do you have to tell us about this situationship at work?
Yeah.
I think
African man.
James, kindly, let's allow James.
Yeah.
I think for me, I have so many reasons, and I think from the story that I've read, from what I've heard from people, and I'll just give you a very simple example, like not really example, but from the story that I've heard from people. Ushaenda ukapata church, the pastor is always there, but the wife is not around. These things is like a happen. Now, being one ministry, doing one thing. Wakati things are okay, you find the wife is always there supportive. But things zikienda vibaya, unapata wife doesn't come to church. Then unaweza kusikia, oh, you know, my wife only traveled, the wife is not feeling okay. But little did you know, the wife has been in the house for almost 3 months. People that are not okay. And even the Kenyan government, if the point wakasema now, if the police officers, they're not supposed to marry each other because wale feel kuna hizo influence. Watu wao wenyewe ni maaskari wenyewe wanao kwa because when vitu sikiharibika kwa familia, they always have the machine guns in the house wana. So unapata like when we are working in the same environment, now when things are okay, now it can be a very we can give people a good example like this thing in the work because how we are communicating. But vitu zikianza kuharibika hapo, now it's really affecting us, it's really affecting the company more than the way things are okay. Apart from that, unakoga hiki tunaitwa teamwork, but usha realize when people are in a relationship, hata mimi naogopa, wewe mwenyewe unaogopa kuongea na muhonja because una feel like nikiongea na muhonja nikikaa na yeye mimi jemo atajam. Mimi nikikuona na yeye pia mnaongea huko nakasirika tu from nowhere. So it's like for me as a man, when I'm in this working environment, now I'm working with a lady there. Anytime namuona, because I have feelings for her, I'm attracted to her. So kuna vile I'm so much confused. Kuna vile I'm so much I can't work. Zingine hata maybe ametoka tu ameenda hivi kiasi hivi nimemuona. So for me, I think this thing it can make sense. And by the end of the day, pia unapata people who are, because we used to work together, like we are a group of 6 people, we used to work together. The people that notice like these people that they're together, unapata there's that space. They always try to give people your time. Yeah, they bring no. They can't bring issue, but unapata like feel like his story anytime when we are in this meeting, Jemo akiwa hapo mmoja akiwa hapo, hii meeting inakuwa kama ni yao because they are always on that side. Jemo akisema hivi, she will support me. Mmoja akisema hivi, support me. And after the meeting watu wanafanya like unaona sasa hawa jamaa hata you can't come with even your own project kwa sababu mali Jemo yuko utapata mmoja, and it can really affect the work environment. So I think for me it can never work. It can never
work. Okay, it can never work. That is the final word. But now, how then do we create what we call conducive environments to have healthy relationships at work, as well as set boundaries that this is the far we can engage while at work? Let's start with the man that said relationships are toxic at work. African man.
Yeah, first of all, depends. Every company, as you explained, every company is different. You have companies based on family companies. There are some you just get in, it's big. I think the first thing is to really be also for your own awareness, personal relationships. Just like you have to understand your own personal level of worth. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't be attracted to somebody at work, but when that attraction happens, what do you go about it? I think it's also important for colleagues to really have a very good social or socializing level of friendship. You understand? Before somebody follows me around in the kitchen, I would have discussed with this person. Am I single? What did I do last weekend? And things like that. So you can also find maybe some of the behaviors may also be not provoked, but people don't know how to socialize sometime at work beyond talking about work. You understand? If you ask a colleague, hey, let us have a drink later, what does that mean? You understand? So I think to create these borders, we also have to create at working areas friendship, first of all, in which we can feel free to express ourselves. Yeah, it is nice to have a cup of coffee with you at work. We can have a drink after work, but it doesn't mean that then I'm giving a person to you. Or sometimes I just, even that same way of having so much of a toxic boss, it's okay, take a friend, go drink. Hey, how does the boss treat you? Yeah, okay, we call job gossip or fringes. Yeah, you can go take your friend, go gossip about the boss, but it is all the back. How can we make it less toxic? So those are how we can create our borders.
Awesome, awesome. That's a great input, African man. Let me ask you, Godwin, is there some specific information you cannot share with your colleague that will probably brood room for you guys to start relating in ways that you're not supposed to be?
Exactly. Matasio said a very valid point, because by the time you're getting to a point where you're having a romantic relationship at work, it means you guys have talked. And you, as the involved partners, all of you should be on the same page. If you discuss and then I have this feeling about you, Nini, and then you understand, okay, I'm single, you're single. Can we try this? Fine. But now, if I talk to you, you tell me the feelings you have. I tell you, you know what? Currently, I'm seeing someone, or I'm married, something of the sort. And then you don't understand, and then you keep pursuing me. First of all, you don't respect me because I've told you my stand and my position. So for you to keep pursuing me, it means you need something more than what I thought it was a genuine relationship. Because first of all, you are after breaking my current relationship or my home. You don't have respect for my home. Not unless you've told me I'm married. Maybe I told you I'm married or I'm in a relationship, and then I told you, but maybe we can have something. You see, now I'm the bad person because you told me your intentions, but even after telling you my position, I still insisted on what you told me. But if I tell you know what, we can be good friends, but currently I'm married or I'm seeing someone, I'm in a very serious relationship, you ought to respect me so that we maintain the work relationship.
Okay,
Yes,
Godwin.
it's not
Godwin,
bad
just
to
a
express
minute.
your feelings. It's normal.
Godwin,
But
that's
now if you come
okay.
and then I tell you, this is my position, and I respect where I am right now, you have no business of insisting, yet you understand what I've told you.
Godwin, if you can hear me, please. Thank you for that input. However, my specific question is, are there some specific information that are personal we shouldn't be sharing with our colleagues that will create room for them to compromise our official relationships? Godwin? I think there's quite some delay from your end. If you can hear me.
Yes, Ali.
Wow, okay. I will allow Coach Collins to take that if possible.
Okay, thank you. I think it's important, first of all, to define your relationship so that you can know where to put your boundaries. For example, you're married and you have issues at home, maybe with your wife or your husband. Some of these differences you might be having, which are domestic, it's not good to share with your colleague at workplace. One, because your colleague is not a therapist to help you out of a situation. Two, you might get some of the worst advice out of you sharing out your inner feelings and crisis and situation from home. Three, you might have given room to someone to start taking advantage of your situation. And apart from that, what about if your friendship gets into a turmoil? Probably this person does not understand the principle of confidentiality, and everybody in the office and the neighborhood will know the secrets and the challenges of your marriage. That's where boundaries are key and very important. No matter how you feel your partner is not fair to you, learn to confront the situation and deal with the situation from that point. If it becomes so hard, involve a third party, a professional who is going to help both of you in dealing with the issues which you have, but don't entrust those information to your colleagues. They might be very good, but they lack the ethics of confidentiality. What will you do if the sweeper at your workplace start discussing about your situation? Or your boss, you are very talented, very gifted, but suddenly people have just realized your weak points. There's such a scenario. I had a client who happened to be very respected at his workplace, very respected. He dresses very well, very neat. Everybody respects him at his workplace, but he had issues with his wife. And in his home, he had one child who is disabled. So one of the things the wife did one of the days while working, the wife came with that child who is disabled, threw the child on the ground and started screaming and shouting and telling the man, "You are such a responsible man who cannot even take care of his own child because he's disabled." That's when this guy, he was so much crushed. His ego was extremely crushed because of this challenge at home, which became public, a public in the public domain of all people who work. So for us to preserve our own ego and perspective, let us keep our domestic challenges to ourselves. Don't share it to the others. Not because they are bad, they may not have ability to withstand your challenges. Or you might be taken advantage. Or you might be sharing so that you can get someone else like you and you take advantage of the person.
Well, coach, that's quite heavy, but I can tell Muhonja rolling her eyes and she's like, how am I supposed to let out my steam if I'm under stress? Muhonja, is that what you're feeling right now?
Yes. Thank you for reading my mind. And I've been writing because I didn't want them to go away. Yes. I think Coach Collins is very, very, very wise to mention that either way, you can look at this from a positive angle. Yes. And I would like to add to what he is saying because he could be supporting me indirectly. It's only that the spirit is willing, but his body has refused. This case, I am saying if you guys have certain kind of maturity, where you guys sit down. Last week we were speaking about a topic to do with whether you can date your whether your friend can date your ex. And I remember pointing out something called closure. Yes. And I mentioned that Africans know nothing about closure. And in this case, the closure here applies where if I am supposed to date James, we are supposed to sit down and say, hey, we have a working place. You sing, I sing. We've started a band. So whenever we go outside, let's take it seriously. It's work. We can't go outside asking for a job and we are all touchy. We are kissing and hugging and showing the manager, well, if you give me a job, don't try. This is my man. Don't you try. Don't you try. We can't because we've sat down and come up with the best way to approach things. We've sat down and we've worked on something called teamwork, where we know, James, if we are approaching a woman for something, we want someone to supply us with a tender because we have a company and we work together, James and I. I will tell him, you know what, baby, if you speak to the woman, there's a very high chance of her giving us the tender rather than me speaking to her. So I come in and I go, I doze kidogo. I go, I come myself, and then I let James take charge. Then in company B again, where we are going to ask for a tender, and the person is male, and we both feel like if they go head on, the egos will be clashing. So the best way is me. So you see, if we work together, we can achieve that. We can get so many tenders by doing that. And there's also the aspect of if he's in trouble, I can cover him. Yeah. I can cover him. If I am in trouble, he can come in and cover me. And for example, the police are looking for him because he's a drug smuggler. I will deny in court and say this man sells oranges in the market. And Godwin is just a hater. Godwin has been hating on him because Godwin tried to cut for me, but I refused. So no, wait first, you are toxic. Wait first. So I want to give you guys another example. Like, let's treat it like a normal relationship. Yeah, forget about the workplace or the what. Treat it like a normal. If we have fights, that's okay. Let's sit down. Coach Collins has said you are supposed to sit down no matter how difficult it is with your partner. And that is what I said when I first started. Like, hey, whether you're the boss and you've employed me and we are doing this, you have to be clear and tell me, hey, Mwanja, even if I'm seeing you, I need things to be done. I need to see results at the end of the day. I need to have a report at the end, quarterly reports and all that. And I, on the other hand, if I value what it is that we have, I will ensure that hata mimi ndo nitakuwa na harass other people to make sure that reports are given on time, everyone comes to work on time. I will not dilly-dally because I know this is my man. And if I start bringing gains, the company will go down. And if it goes down and you lose money, trust me, nitakuacha. I can't stay with you without money. As simple as that, James.
Okay, clearly, Coach Collins, you have a partner who is trying to advise and help in marriage counseling, but I see James is raising his hand. He wants to say something before we can call it a short.
All these discussions or whatever Monja is saying right now, it doesn't happen in every relationship. People they normally sit down. So even those people who are those people who they want to date and they are like work colleagues, they consider these things. So it's we have tumesikiza vitu kila mahali, and that's one protocol about anytime you enter into a relationship you have to sit down with someone and hata demo anaweza kuuliza maze wewe ukijam how do you do, ukikasirika what do you do, if you're mad at me what whatever she has tried to say is okay, but my only fear is we can do all these things, but when we are on the bad side of this relationship, because hapo ndo kuna organize those loopholes. Hata hii job tulienda na wewe itaenda, mimi ndo nenda nikaongea nikakutafutia ukapata hii job ni kama ni yangu. You see, so hapo ndo kwa organize those loopholes, na unapata now the company can start inaanza tu vizuri, ianza tu vizuri, now the teamwork everything it's all about job, it's all about nini. But the moment we have disagreement in our relationship, all those things we agreed, like whenever we're going through this season, we are not happy, we are not happy, we are angry for each other, we should never bring this thing to work. Women they normally forget. Hata naweza kuja na watoto na kuachia tu hapo akwambia mimi uzifanya, you can't do this to me. So whatever she's trying to say, these are things people they normally consider, we normally consider when we enter into a relationship. But by the end of the day, when the deal we are having disagreement, these women they normally forget everything.
Which women?
Matasio, as an African man, give me your counsel in this, because James' concern is, yes, we will have a good relationship, we will have great business coming through, but once the relationship goes south, everything is forgotten. Is that the stance you hold, and is this why probably we shouldn't be dating at work?
Yeah, that is true. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. And we can, humans, we're humans, and feelings come without a warning, and small things can be triggered.
I like that.
So you see, for example, Mohoj is just giving explanation, telling you how difficult it is to have a relationship at work. All those things she's mentioning, even saying that, look at the positive side.
I am saying how amazing it is to have a relationship.
Yes, very amazing, very amazing. But we go back to the topic. First of all, we are talking about not even relationships. We are talking about behaviors of colleagues at work, making life unpeaceful for others, creating a toxic situation. So if somebody came with that topic, we have to close. I'll close down and say, no. When it starts as something not giving you peace at work, when it starts on a toxic level, don't trust it, don't go for it. It's a no-go zone. However, workplace is the place you can make best friends. Be it male friends, be it financial friends, be it romantic friends, be it hobby friends. It's the first place you should look for if you're looking. They agree with you, Monja. but without fake things like work boyfriend or whatever and things like that. Maturity at first, work interest at first, then the rest will follow. But we are not going to use a workplace as a relationship catharsis, a relationship therapy area. Why not? Why should I not kiss? Why should people think? No, you are here to work, work. First point. The rest will follow later.
Godwin,
Hey,
I think it's
just one question. Just one, please. I just want to ask, and I will be very clear. I have you as my husband at home, and you don't have a job. You've applied for jobs, man, and they're not coming through. And my boss at work has been eyeing me and telling me, tell me what you want, baby. And then I say, for the sake of our children, let me just flash this guy. I will not go beyond the boundaries. And in this case, the boundaries that you and I spoke about. Like if we spoke and said, please, we are not going to sleep with other people outside. We are not going to see other people. It's not an open relationship. It is a monogamous relationship. And then I think about all that and decide, let me do this. If my boss wants to wink at me at break time and I just go home, then why not? And then I sit down, I come and think about it, and then I tell you, you know what? Why are you looking at me like that? Wait first, I finish. And then I come back, I come back home. I come back home and tell you, baby, you have a job. And that job, no part of my body is in pain. In this case, if you know, you know. If you don't get it, forget about that case. But no part of my body is in pain, but you have a job. So did I do wrong to just flirt with this guy? Not even flirt. He was winking at me. And I thought about my children and you, Matasio, as my husband, who has really looked for a job because you want to provide for us, but you could not get it. And then I have actually, let's use the word, I have tolerated whatever it is that boss was doing until we have a job. And once you have a job, or even he gives me money, I give you start a business, and then I quit that job. Is there a problem with that?
Very big problem.
wait, Matasio. Let's allow
very
Coach
big
Collins to be the
problem.
one to answer that at the end of the discussion. But allow also Godwin to come in through. Please, out of time and respect. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a very big problem because Muhonje, in the first place, no one is going to wink at you just because they're just winking for the sake of it. You'll get your husband the job, you'll get however much money you want, but remember, there's always a price to pay.
Okay, Godwin,
So it
thank
will
you.
come at a cost.
Leave it at that. Leave it at that. Sorry, James. But let me now ask you your question, Godwin. There is this lady that is the first lady you see when you wake up and go to work, because you go to work early. She has nice makeup on, and by the time you're leaving work, she's the one that tells you goodbye, have a great evening, with a very nice makeup on. When you arrive at home, mama amevaa, amesema sisi ndio tuko, a very old t-shirt na amepuka kwa kichwa. Would this make you think about office romance, or is it for better, for worse?
Never, because unaona wewe mwenye amevaa sengenge ni waya. That is the person, you've seen the natural hair.
Where did you get that from? Singing in okay, fine.
The wire.
So, I'd rather stay with her because she knows me better, because these are the person, you don't know when they're doing this, whatever makeup unaona, you've not seen now the true them. And it takes well, mmoja wacha bwana, hizi foundation mnajipaka simiti wachana nazo. So it takes a man.
Bado sijajibu Muhonje aliuliza swali.
Time.
It takes a man to know that this is just because we men we are visual. So it takes a man to think beyond what they see. You understand? Because think about what will happen after this. Am I really doing this because I want to read for the long time or just here? If you're weak, you'll go for it. But if you're strong like me, never.
Coach Collins, Mwanja asked a very pertinent question. I would love for you to respond to that before you can give us your pieces of wisdoms.
Our intrapersonal relationship will always determine our interpersonal relationship. That's very key and very important in one way or the other. Meaning that I'll answer by this case. Some years back, I had a church member who happened to love the husband, and the husband had not got a job for quite a long time. Then, in this big corporate company, the boss suggested to her, I can employ your husband on one condition: just give me a shot, and your husband will get the job. So the lady, because of her love for the job, for the husband, she decided to get a shot from the boss so that the husband can get a job. For surely the husband got the job, but he was not aware it was because of the shot which the wife got from the boss. Unfortunately, the wife got infected with HIV out of that shot. And the man happened to be having CD3, whereby the wife could not infect him HIV, which led to divorce later on. So the husband got the job, he got some good money. When the good money came, that's where they splitted and they left each other. Unfortunately. Why? Because wrong will never justify success for life. Temptations are there. What you can say from actually what you've been discussing today, people can relate at different level. And relationship starts from when a child is in the womb, between the child and the mother. Upon delivery, there are different groups of people whom a child start relating with towards coming to maturity at school, from nursery level, primary level, high school, college, university, and then the same, we bring it back when you get to our workplace. Now, at this particular point, for our relationship to be either toxic or healthy, it is determined by your higher self-awareness as an individual, by understanding who you are. Your value systems have to be very clear. If you are in a relationship like marriage, you have to define the relationship well. Am I in a cohabitation relationship? Am I married? Or am I single? Then, once the work relationship starts turning to become romantic, you need to ask yourself patent questions like, what exactly am I looking for at this particular point? Probably you are sexually starved at home. Does it mean the person whom you hit and run will give you satisfaction? Which one is much easier? To get hit and run, or a one night stand, or just a shot in the office to quench the thirst? And for us who are married, we can differentiate between fulfillment and satisfaction very clearly. So then it takes a lot of emotional maturity for every man and every woman to understand that your sexual starvation from home or crisis at home should become a platform for you to solve your differences than to take your baggages and then transfer it to another staff, either innocently or not innocently, or someone who might be having the same situation like you. That's what I was saying. Your intrapersonal relationship will determine your interpersonal relationship with other people. So what does it mean? Should we relate at workplace? Let us relate as colleagues. Let us relate as partners. Just like in college and university, 5% of relationships in college, university end up in marriage, just like at our workplace. In the same way, very few percentage of relationship at our workplace end up into marriage. However, as I usually say, even in marriage, 1% is food and sex, but 99% is what we think about our spouse. So before you take some actions with your boss lady, boss man, this young girl, young boy, where are you? What's your thought about your marriage? So that the action you take won't be an action which by the end of the day, it will bring rivalry among staffs at the workplace, your boss and other managers, support staff against other support staff, or finding yourself in crisis against others because of your figure or the chemical reaction you're getting because of what you see. Men, you're moved by what you see, it is true. As Ellie was saying, there's this lady who receives you in the morning and tells you bye in the evening. But should it change everything because your wife, when you get home, the t-shirt is written Lala Salama Babu, which was worn during the day of burial? Very key and very important. So let us relate, but let us have positive relationship at our workplace. However, let us not compromise it to bring it to the level of romance. Even married couples who are running a company, who are well placed and they have right to have sex in the office, sometimes they'll preserve it for the best place to enjoy it to the maximum. It's only a person who wants to steal the moment who always think I can have the best shot at office to prove I'm a real man or a real woman. Real men hold it until they get to the right place. Real women hold it to show their value until they get to the right place. When you get to the right place, maximize it because in heaven you won't have that moment. Back to you, Eddie.
Mimi nimwambia kama mlikuwa mnafikiria mbinguni utapewa mwili mpya. Coach amesema ni hapa. Tumalizie hapa. Maximize it with the right people and the right place, because the office is meant exactly for that, business and transactions. I hope this conversation was meaningful to you, and if it wasn't, we hope you can make it better next time, because that's why we are here, to create conversations that are worth and authentic to you, our viewers. Let me just give some shout out to Calvin Dachi all the way watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much. He was the first one there. We have Emmanuel Mumo, Roy Sesink. Hey, majina magumu. Amesema MC Matasio pale. Poor fire. Njekita, thank you so much for making the conversation hot and fired up tonight. Noreen amesema muonja ya ye. Wewe unachoma hapa, na Idela kajishika kakichwa sema hapa Yesu anisaidie, because haelewi unakoenda na unakorudi. We have Sarah and Jonjo. Hello good people. Thank you so much Sarah for coming tonight. Umepotea sana. I hope you make time more and see us here on Art in Heart. And of course, without forgetting, who else was here? Let's see. Mwana wa Rosa, thank you so much. Matasio Kagwa mwenyewe hapa. And every other person that made it to our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscription button. It is very simple. Unaenda tu hapo Facebook ama ni YouTube, unatafuta The Arts in Heart as it appears on your screen. Usiseme sioni Art in Heart. No, it's The Arts in Heart official on YouTube. We have Muonja Mujega, anatuambia yeye, she's a feminist, she's an activist. Among others, she has Muonja Mujega Foundation, where she does amazing stuff there. Go on Facebook, find that channel and page, and get to find out much more about her. She's equally a musician, and I'm telling you, this woman can dance, and she can equally sing. So, join her on YouTube. That is Muonja Africa with a K. Of course, without forgetting one and only African man, the only wise man we have in Europe. Alisema yeye alikuja huku na mababu zake wakatuambia yeye ndiye atatuchunga. Thank you so much, African man, an artist in his own respect, a DJ, an MC, is everything else except what you don't think. Okay? That is African man. And of course, Godwin Segero, our producer all the way Nairobi, Kenya. Huyu ndio yule jamaa mamua atakula vitabu, atuletee sheria. Inasema sheria sio kushika mkononi, bali ni kwa kitabu. Thank you so much, Godwin, for coming and making it to the show. Without forgetting Coach Collins Bolo, who soon and very soon, he will be coming back with his and very interesting program, Family Edition.
The day you will lose your job, they'll tell you now I'm the head because I supply everything. It's leadership or being the head and economical power. Those are some of the most important questions this year we'll be asking ourselves.
Yep.
Because if you think a lion is a cow, your thought process does not matter, you shall be destroyed.
Okay. And yes, if you think Elias is a cow, it doesn't matter, because
You'll be eaten.
that is Coach Collins Bolo, Mombasa, Kenya. Coach, kwa haraka tu, ambia watu wanakupataje. Kwa haraka tu. You are the only psychologist we know here, trainer. Hao wengine tu tunaona tu, hatujui ni nini.
Thank you very much. If you would like to get in touch with me, my phone number is 0721 605 3 346. 0721 605 346. You can also find me on Instagram and also on Facebook, Collins Bolo, and we can get to communicate and chat our way forward. Thank you.
Asante sana, and to everyone, Maze, asanteni sana. This program must end because we are out of time. Let's call it a night. See you next week. And for those who do not know, Thursday we have an interesting interview coming up. So stay tuned, 9:30 p.m. And on Friday we have worship night with Reverend Kevin Tindi. This is going to be amazing. For now, let's just say, time imetukata. See you when you see us. Good night and God bless.